All right. Good morning. Got to get my throat going there. Good morning. Welcome to Not My Rabbit Hole.
Extraterrestrial hybridized DNA. Don't need to worry about tooth decay. Kevin Spacey and his clone are feeling alone. Men who stare at goats. The Thrill Society Road. Super Soldier Sunday, just another fun day. 75 years on Mars, lying about the stars. Captain Richard Charles like Charles Manson's gun. Liars in the sun. Liars in the sun. Monsters in the sun. Monster, super soldier talk, super space program. Let's jam. Monster, super soldier talk, super space program. Let's jam.
All right. Let's get to it. All right. I'm going to play a couple more songs. I'm just kind of warming up right now. It's 7:30 a.m. Today is June 8th, 2026. It's unusual for me to broadcast at this hour, but I don't know. I had one of those nights. I mean, I watched Sewer Town last night. All right, that's where it starts at. I'm watching Sewer Town, and I'll get to what happened on what I noticed on Sewer Town in just a moment here. But after watching it, I made a post. I made a post on X, which I'm going to share here in a second, and also I made a post on my YouTube community page about what I saw on X. I mean, I'm not on X, but what I saw on Sewer Town. And then, I went to bed. Well, before that, I watched this movie, which sort of, I think, kind of touches upon like what I'm going to talk about a little bit today. But it starred Blake Lively, and I don't know if It Ends With Us is the title of it. And what was interesting was that it was going to be leaving Netflix by today, June 8th. And I went, wow, if I really want to see this movie, I better watch it tonight. So I stayed up and I watched it. And there's what's more interesting than the film is the backstory to how the film was made. And there was this big legal dispute, sexual harassment that happened on the set, or so Blake Lively said. Things that were happening between the director and the lead actor that she had love scenes with and everything else. And part of the lawsuit was that a publicist, kind of like what you call like dark PR, what you can do on the internet. And they bring up the Amber Heard case the same. A lot of people argue that there's a real, what people do with publicity, dark PR for they target, if there's a lawsuit or they want to smear somebody on the internet, they start, doing like a Twitter campaign or an X campaign. It's not Twitter anymore, but you know what I'm talking about, where there's these, allegations of her being difficult and this and that. And sordid stories start circulating all over the internet, and it's PR. It's done on purpose. And so this has come up in discussion about that film and her case and that director and everything. And so I stayed up and watched it. I think if it wasn't because of the fact that I knew the backstory of the movie, I probably wouldn't have stayed up the whole night to finish it. But the film deals with, and trigger warning, it deals with domestic violence and power dynamics and childhood trauma and things like this. And that's one of the arguments in the court case, is the guy who was the director that was starring opposite her as a love interest, or even the abuser in the story. Like, for the actress, there's this backstory of like abuse going on. And I find that really interesting, just in an observation, from an observation point of view, because when you're an actress, you are having to do love scenes, or there are things that could happen where, it might become an issue or an abuse, or someone crosses the line. However, I mean, you guys know that it happens all the time, right? And yet the actress has to finish the part. She still has to play opposite this person that she's having all these difficulties with. And I just wanted to watch how the performances were, and to see if I could pick up any of those dynamics between the two in the performance, just from watching it. I know, it was weird. I clicked onto my, I use StreamYard, and I clicked onto the viewership on this video, and it was already at 6, and I'm like, wow. I mean, because I would think no one would be up at 7:30 wanting to listen to me talk about something, but I know that I have an interesting title And the title does include some names, but it doesn't, say who the last names are. I mean, in fact, the two people, I really don't even know their last name. And one of the names is not even their real name, because, this is how these things are on on the internet. Or so I heard. It's not their real name. Right. But last night, when I was watching Sewer Town, there's this channel, and her name is Nonya, and she's involved with this, like from what my observation is, she's part of like a predator catcher group that has a lot of people that I have blocked from this channel, and that I don't want any part of these people, to be honest with you. I don't like, what they say about other people. Oh, I knew what I was going to do. I just want to make sure that I have my volume on. Okay, wait, I was not using my, I had my microphone plugged in, but I hadn't in the select bar of like, guys, I'm sorry. I woke up. I just woke up. This is just kind of a riff, right? Things that I want to say about what's going on. Because, honestly, it's unsettling to me, really. Because, anyway, let's talk about this predator catcher group, like this group of people that have not been very kind to me on the internet, and have said a lot of negative things about me, and a lot of things that are untrue. And this has been going on for a really long time for me. I would say it started at the end of 2022. Started at the end. Yeah, it really started, I guess, maybe at the end of 2021. No, 2022. Yeah. So at the end of 2022. So it's been going on for about like 3 years now, since 2026, with a certain group, this certain pocket of YouTube. And I think the biggest takeaway for me in observing all of this is to kind of take myself out of it. Because they don't just target me, they target a group of people, right? There's a group of us that are like on some, I think, like some sort of list or whatever of just, where there would be, whether it be like a sock puppet account, maybe you don't know the person's identity, or it would be like you do know their identity, but they're still not going by their real name, but you see their face. And, these people are connected together in interesting ways. If you look at the palette of players that I feel have spread defamation and malicious lies about me, and they have come into my own personal life, where they have called my jobs, they have texted me, they have doxed my phone number publicly, they have called, whatever it is, they called the university that I attend school at. I get threats of that. I can go on YouTube and see them tagging my jobs or associations or, university with negativity and false accusations about me, that I have civil harassment, restraining orders and suits and, all this kind of stuff going on. And, and there is like a big kahuna who sits at the top of it, named Thomas Schoenberger. And, the people that do this, and it just so happens that a lot of the people that are having this happen to them happen to be in disputes with Thomas Schoenberger. So like when you talk about like dark PR, like I mentioned like Blake Lively, that whole situation, and how, there's this conversation on the internet, how you can do dark PR, you can do, harassment campaigns, you can do online smear campaigns. You can Google a lot of things on the internet now and just research it about how these things are taking place on the internet. And these people, like, for example, Thomas Schoenberger, he has, if an article in the Daily Mail, I'm sourcing mainstream articles about Thomas Schoenberger where it talks about how he worked for a company called Shadowbox that does exactly what I'm talking about. And they called it cyber guerrilla tactics and cyber guerrilla warfare on the internet using bots and fake accounts or whatever. Like, this is actually in print somewhere about Thomas Schoenberger's history. And he is in these people's chats. He's been in Nonya's chat. He was like, the footage that I watched last night, Thomas Schoenberger was in Nonya's chat, and Nonya was saying, "Oh, these people are just, they just, he's like, as if she was defending him, and yet at the same time saying that I never knew who you are, or I'm not associated with you." But she's kind of associated by proxy, even because there's hoax, right? Hoax wars. Like, Nonya is like a step down from Daniel Richard Columbus, who had done this with Thomas Schoenberger going way back to All Seeing You, way back to like 2016, way back to Teenage FBI. Like, he has been involved with this kind of activity on the internet since 2017. And I have traced a paper trail of money going to, like Steemit or D Live or something like that. I've taken screenshots. I've looked into this. I've traced where the genesis of these people are and how they are associated to one another. And now Hoax, or they call him Mitch, sits at the crown, kind of like he's like, a little step down from Schoenberger. In fact, Thomas Schoenberger, maybe like, I don't know, like a year or so ago, was saying that he was going to give Shadowbox, the company that did the very thing that I'm talking about, to Daniel Richard Columbus. See, for a long time, we didn't know who he was. And so, like, that's the thing. Like, he was like this person that had this persona on the internet and this voice, but we didn't know who he was. He didn't have any identity, because when you have an identity, you can be held legally liable for doing what you do on the internet and saying the things that you say if it's defamation and if it's done with malicious intent. And beyond that, there's something called a civil harassment lawsuit. Heard of that, guys? Because that's really interesting. And that's one of the things that I'm going to get into about this in just a second after this song. And yes, see, what happened was, let's just wet your whistle about like the scenario going on here. Is there's a woman named Sarah Rachel Adams that comes into play in all of this. She's inserted herself, or maybe she's been in part of this all the time. But she showed up in Nonya's chat and accused a woman who is more like a private citizen, said her name or whatever, and, lied about her, and has been lying about her for a long time. And she's been doing this to people for a really long time. And a lot of us have been starting to stand up and go, you know what, this isn't okay. And this woman, okay, Sarah R. Adams, just in case you guys don't know who she is, she was Max Spears' girlfriend, the super soldier that had a mysterious death in Poland. All right. I interviewed Max Spears back in 2015. I interviewed Sarah herself because I was a host on a network called Revolution Radio. And Sarah recently, some of us who have channels, who investigate grifters and liars on the internet, and break it down, because she comes from a community that has or can be infested with grifters, and that is UFO disclosure. Selling, medical devices that are fake and phony and harm people, and giving people false hope and lies and pseudo spirituality. They elevate themselves into being like more spiritually insightful than other people. They can do tarot and they can do all these things, just like, a gypsy, really, like a snake oil salesman within communities that are existing on the internet. I personally think, it's a service to actually call people out like that and challenge their beliefs and what they do. That is what I've been doing on my channel when it comes to Sarah Rachel Adams. But she has made up all these things. That I hang out with pedophiles, because you know what, that's what you guys like to do. You like to falsely accuse people of being pedophiles and then call yourself some sort of predator catcher or something, right? Oh, I've been watching for a really long time. And then you're also connected to far right wing fringe communities, and you oftentimes identify yourself with Pepe the Frog. And there's a big argument about that, but also it has been deemed as an anti-Semitic hate symbol. Okay. So, like, the legs of where all of this goes and the kind of the pulse of it screams like, we got Nathan Stoltman connected to it. There's Isaac Cappy. There's a MAGA agenda. There's a 17-anon element to this. And it has a history and it has roots to it, of the players and the people that are involved. Don't just think they just popped up today. And it's like Nonya is like the new voice of it all, right? The new queen, mean girl, the queen of mean, basically. And Sarah has a problem with me because, Truth Seekers and myself and some, other people over time have, MC Truth. And I mean, there's a lot of channels out there that have delved into the credibility of Sarah R. Adams. It's not just me. And I guess, this has been going on, I don't know, since 2020 for Sarah over time. Yeah. And Sarah's like, made a big chunk of money doing what she's been doing. I mean, it went from, super soldier to psychic intuitive empath healer to, where she did all these highfalutin, readings for people. And then, it went to like top tier, I guess, multidimensional life coach, where she could coach your life in all the dimensions that you exist in, I suppose. But if you wonder if that's bullshit or not, she will come after you and make up all these lies, use sock puppet accounts to actually like harass you with. And I have proof of this. I have proof of it. Like, I'm not just saying it happens. I've caught her in it. Doing it. And recently, the newest thing, like over the last few months, she's connected with Thomas Schellenberger. And Thomas Schellenberger has like been harassing and making lies and supporting her. She contacted David Schroeder. Blazing Scar has been doing content about this for quite a while now. There's another one, Lisa Lake, like they're talking about Sarah. They've been talking about Sarah like before it even got as bad as it is now. She went to David Schroeder, by the way, just to let you know, because David Schroeder has like admitted this on his show, and I have a clip of it. She went to David Schroeder says Sarah offered him $5,000 to take me down. And then shortly after that, I'm assuming, like on December 18th, apparently she contacted him. And all of a sudden, David Schroeder is accusing me of blackmailing and extorting her with her ex-business partner who goes on the dark web. And I hadn't talked to Taj in 6 years. But she knew that David Schroeder had been going off on me for 3 years, repeating Thomas Schoenberger's bullshit that he emails him all through the night and then posts on his blog. And you know what? If you guys think that like David Schroeder's law enforcement doesn't know about this, or who's behind it, or that Thomas Schoenberger is connected to him doing this, they full on do. Like, it's not really hard to actually really show a valid receipt and show exactly what is happening here. And so recently, Titus Frost had Sarah and Brian Sang on his show, and they proceeded to tell people that we were, like me and truth seekers, we were being paid by Gabe Hoffman, and that we were Zionists, Satanists, pedophiles, friends of pedophiles, and we were responsible for cyberbullying David Wilcock and Isaac Happy to death, which was untrue. I mean, I never, if you look at Not My Rabbit Hole, there's hardly nothing here on David Wilcock. Had I talked about David Wilcock in passing, do I believe him? Sarah's on these shows. She's telling them that I've been attacking David Wilcock since 2011. I wasn't even around in 2011 in this any pocket here at all. I didn't have a show. I knew of David Wilcock. I listened to shows. I did have a cannabis themed show on I started doing a New Dissident Radio and Time for Hemp Network. I was a cannabis activist. I was, a follower of David Wilcock. I was a fan until it got into the fake secret. I think it's a fake secret space program that Corey Good talks about. Fake, phony. And it's not just me who thinks it. There's been lawsuits. There's been all these things going on. But Sarah and, whomever is involved in this, Thomas and everybody else, because I'm sure that, Titus is Thomas's go-to in doing this media. It was really interesting on Titus Frost's show when he had Sarah on. He's going, oh yeah, Terry had me on her show and she put me on and she invited me. No, I didn't invite you on any show, Titus. Thomas put that show together. Thomas wanted you to be on a show with me. I've got the emails between Thomas and I on all of us. I can pull those up and prove it. Dean, if you're listening, if you care, Terry's not worth anything. She doesn't have anybody listening to her. Well, if nobody's listening to me, then why do you talk about me? Well, because there's an agenda. And Dean has been involved in this harassment of me before Sarah got on his show, way before Sarah did. And then when Sarah went on Coley Weber's show, another UF show, and did the same thing and made up the same lies about it, accusing us, making people fill out petitions and report us to law enforcement. Well, I didn't even know David Wilcock. I didn't even interview him. I didn't even hardly talk about him, but I was on one show where I believe I might have even been co-hosting, where Stephen Cambion in 2023 was questioning the sanity of David Wilcock. That's it. That's not cyberbullying, guys. You got to understand what the definition in the law is about what's considered cyberbullying. It's not having public discourse or even like insulting people or talking negatively about them or anything like that. If it's a joke, if it's parody, if it's satire, falls into certain things, hate speech is actually, protected by the First Amendment. You can't do it on platforms like YouTube. You can't do it on private companies. Advertisers aren't going to want to back you for something like that. Oh, by the way, there are like some products tagged with this broadcast, some cereal. So, because it is morning, I thought, you might want some Pop-Tarts, right? Okay, so if I am in the affiliate program here on YouTube. So if you do get a snack or a breakfast, from my tags when you listen to this, or you have the munchies in the middle of the night, you know what? I will get a commission, and it will be a way of supporting this channel and, what I'm doing. Like, what I really like to do, isn't this really. It's not, I mean, I like, having a conversation. Like, I created Not My Rabbit Hole for me to do a riff about things that are going on in the world, what my thoughts are, things like that. I like doing interviews. I've had some interviews here lately. I did an interview. Something's going on with the hemp bill out there. There's a loophole in it. We might lose everything. All paper, fiber, fuel, energy, hemp oil, The money we can make from it. CBD could be just completely gone. It's never been illegal. A lot of, some really good, interviews, I think. I've dispersed it, put it out on my social media. I want to get the message out there. People need to become aware of this. I, went out and live streamed a function here in Fresno, Together Across America, about communities helping other communities, having food and things available to them, and clothing and free haircuts. I did that, since I finished up in the MFA program. I mean, I'm not finished. I finished my semester. I got all my classes done. All this stuff was going on when I was in the middle of my finals, doing all the final projects and assignments and stuff like that. I'm dealing with Sarah Rachel Adams going on these shows and saying these lies about me. Well, and then having a smear campaign happen on X and on Twitter and things and places, have Titus, give out a number to the, in a file case that had nothing to do with us. It was not a cyberbullying report or nothing. Talking about, we're going to contact the media, and I'm going to, having threats from Sarah, like, I'm going to ruin you. I'm going to ruin you. So you can't do anything. You can't do whatever. And then on top of it, having false copyright strikes from Thomas Schoenberger, which my counter notice was accepted. One of them's been restored. And the one that's restored, by the way, is like me, when I was criticizing Adam Camacho for giving me a ChatGPT apology letter, or way to apologize to Thomas Schoenberger. After, by the way, and everybody's like, oh, she was yelling at Adam Camacho. She was yelling at Adam Camacho. You know what? Adam Camacho wasn't in the room, so I wasn't really yelling at him. And if I sounded like I was yelling, it's because I was doing my rant, because I feel emotional about it, because I felt betrayed. I feel betrayed by Adam Camacho. And Nonya's his buddy. He was always like, oh, Nonya. When the Liz split happened, and then when Hoax apologized to him, right? Because this little troll group here, right? I call you guys a troll group. I'm sorry. Forgive me. I should call you like what the name of the show is, tortfeasors. Because in a sense, you are legally liable for what you've done. And what you're doing. You were legally liable for it. And I think, like, you guys think, oh, well, she's never going to have money. She's never going to, be able to, fight back or figure out how to fight back. Or, I think you guys have been doing this for so long that you think that you're above being held accountable for what you've done on the internet. Let's talk about what Daniel Richard Columbus has done to me. He falsely accused me of trafficking my ex-moderator's daughters. and other people participated with him. Yeah, I think that's libel, Daniel. I think that's libel. I had all these like little channels and videos and Thomas and it's been a ride, everybody. I think what was it, the toilet bowl, 17 and on guy or something like that, or the toilet cleaner guy, and that the bald headed dude that was like had his t-shirt off and was doing all these things and talking about challenging Professor Dilly and stuff, and there was these videos of me and Jesse and you guys go back and forth with one another, like boom, one day Blazing Scar is against Nonya, but now they're together because now they're really hitting Daniel Dowd really hard. So lo and behold, in that chat, they're in that show when they're talking about Daniel Dowd and all this stuff and everybody in Sewer Town and having a good old time, right? All of a sudden, there's Sarah R. Adams, talking about Carmen Joy. I interviewed Carmen Joy, by the way. Carmen Joy gave her side of the story. Carmen Joy has no convictions of being a pedophile. She's not on the list, I guess like you have to register as a registered, she's not on that. Never been convicted. But she's endured a smear campaign by Sarah, and she's using Carmen, who has nothing to do with any of the stuff that, anybody talking about her or whatever. Because like what really made her mad, this is the clincher for Sarah, really. And it doesn't matter what anybody says about it or whether anybody ever knew it. But the fact of the matter is Sarah did a mushroom ritual with Steve Harvey's, the comedian Steve Harvey's son and daughter-in-law. And in that mushroom ritual, it was supposed to be filmed for a documentary, and they used a synthetic form of it. Now, there's a lot of really great things happening out there about psilocybin in new discoveries. I read where there was this woman that had Alzheimer's and she used it and her memory came back, and it just, it does something. So there's the same thing with, I'm afraid to say it, but the hemp plant, right? I mean, historically, just the modern medicine hasn't really like used our plants because they can't patent it. They can't make a bunch of money off of it. I know you guys, like a lot of you guys that listen to me, I know that you know what I'm talking about. Because even if we are sitting on, even if you're harassing me, the healing aspects of what the earth gives us. There's that scripture in the Bible about giving all the plants that we need to sustain ourselves and to be healthy. We've lost our understanding or the history of like how to use the plants that are on the planet to help live or make our lives better or the world better, survive. And not just for food, but for actual, health maintenance. So the reality is that I'm at the point, and I've been saying, I'm going to sue you for this. I'm going to sue you. I'm going to go after you legally. And I have like some police reports. Most of them are on campuses. There's one that's at the Fresno Police. It's a telephone harassment case that I filed. But there's nothing. It's really hard to do anything about something that happens on the internet legally unless you file a civil harassment lawsuit. That's different. I mean, you can go with defamation, and I think in this case, yeah, I have a defamation lawsuit. In defamation law, let's say Thomas Schoenberger, starts lying and calling somebody a pedo and this and that, makes up all these stories about somebody that's not true. He can be sued for that. Just that alone, right? And he does it on the internet or but he also has other people do it. Anybody that shares what he started, doesn't matter whether it's even a post that you reshare on the internet from him that is defamatory to somebody, you can be held legally liable for it. And a person could just, sue a bunch of people across the board for defamation. Those are pretty big lawsuits, though, I think. They're pretty big, and they're, because of our free speech laws, you have to really prove that there's a difference between like having an opinion about somebody and saying something about somebody as if they're a fact, like they were paid by Gabe Hoffman, which never happened. Or, like they said, they're a Zionist, they're a Satanist, they're a pedophile. I've never been convicted of any pedophilia. I've never been associated to anything like that. And yet I've been smeared as one since 2023 by these people, by hoax, by Thomas Schoenberger, by Denise Matau, by David Schurter, by Sarah R. Adams. And then I've been falsely accused of being responsible for murdering people. Not only have I had my own privacy, not only have I been cyber stalked and cyber bullied on the internet and suffered through it for 3 years, but now I have people running a smear campaign saying that I cyberbullied somebody to death and here's where to report me. I mean, to me, that's just absolutely outrageous. And it is legally liable at this point. And so last week, I got out because I'm out of school. I'm, kind of in this phase of like, I have a birthday coming up next month and it's a big one. And, I'm moving my, I know you guys think, oh yeah, she's just old. She's just a fucktard. She's just like, fuck her. She's a loser. You're going nowhere, right? Because you hate me, basically. You want to ruin me because you spread lies about me. So that when I do get with what I do have, what I am working for, you're sabotaging that. You're taking away my livelihood. When Thomas Schoenberger does, because my channel's monetized, I take my podcast seriously here. I'm not a throwaway channel. This is part of it reflects my degree. I got a BA in digital journalism while you guys sat there and trashed me. And I graduated with high honors. And then you laugh at me like it doesn't matter. It does fucking matter. You know how it matters? That degree gives me credibility. Just the degree itself gives me credibility over you. Over your little tiny channel. That you're probably, that's disposable to you. You like a Bic razor. You don't care about your channels. You want to stay under the radar so that you can just keep pecking for somebody, at somebody. And here's the ultimate thing. What is the payoff for you? What is the payoff for you to do this to people? So, I am going to play some music. Be right back.
Indigenous ancestors weaving you the void, drought in your brain. making you insane.
Wrapping up Benjamin full fur, living the absurd like a blue avian nerd, keeping the lines blurred. Captain Mark Richards, a secret space program grifter, getting married while in prison, making you listen, create a new religion, doing the reptilian, making you forget my sins. Super soldier talks in prison, Nord again, Draco, shape shifting in my Winnebago.
Indigenous instincts, weaving you the void, drowning your brain, making you insane.
Wrapping the Benjamin forward, living the absurd like a blue avian nerd, keeping the lines wrapping like Benjamin forward, living the absurd like a blue avian nerd, keeping the lines blurred. Rapping like Benjamin Fulford. Word.
Okay, and one more thing. Before I get into the real nugget of this conversation, because I'm going to play like a clip here, do some commentary on something. So hold on to your panties there. But I do want to go a little bit more into Adam Camacho, because he's really on my mind right now about this. Because with Adam, I'm going to just tell my side of the story, right? I was watching, like, over time, I've seen people talk about Owen Benjamin a lot within this community. Like, Hoax seemed to have a fixation on him. Denise would mention him ever so often. In a negative way. There was this negative banter about Owen Benjamin, and then I saw that there was a woman named Liz, or went by Liz Antoinette. I didn't really super pay a whole lot of attention to it. Then it sprouted out that there was a scuttle going on with a guy named Alan Powell, and all this kind of stuff. And there was this documentary, and I had looked at a few videos of Adam Camacho, like he was doing his campaign. Like I found this website where he's doing his campaign to like have money, for the lawsuit against Owen Benjamin and all this kind of stuff. And I knew that Owen Benjamin in many ways had been canceled, for a lot of things. And I even had stood up for him at one point. Now, Owen Benjamin, and like my perception of like who he is and what he's doing, and I'm more interested in the social dynamics of Bertaria and the reasons of people following it, and what they wanted out of it, and the time period that that Bertaria became alive, because we were experiencing COVID back then. To me, those dynamics about Adam Camacho's footage is what's the most interesting about it. And then also to see the aftermath or the play out of this. Now, according to like when I was talking to Adam, the main thing, because it's confusing, like what is this lawsuit even about, really? I mean, you see like Adam Camacho doing all these videos with AI griftcast and this and that, and like land grab. You see things like land grab and like these, the things. And, when I talked to Adam, he said that he had done a special, like, because like Bertaria was created also to be like a center or a community where they can do their own shows and have their own events and stuff like that. And he didn't have to go through Netflix or anything like that. He could just go have his event, have his stuff, filmed, and then put out there, on platforms, I guess, for monetary reasons and stuff like that. And apparently there was a dispute over the payment of that. That's what I thought that it was about. And one of the issues that they had between one another is because Owen didn't believe in contracts. It was done like on a verbal agreement. So there's no like contract paper trail. But then it ran into like all these other things. And I was kind of interested in the dynamics of the guy who had the short pants in the show, Billy Bob or Bob, just their dynamics. And then what happened after that. And the kind of cultural spin, like with people like Top Feed Coco and Eon Will and these other characters that I've seen be in other pockets or attack other people be ganging up on Owen Benjamin, or having like for definitely Top Feed Coco, and Top Feed Coco was talking about Owen 6 years ago. I found this footage where he's on somebody's show where you actually really see his face. And he's talking about him like, so this stuff around Owen and the Bears and this and that has been like, there's been like a troll network for Owen Benjamin, it looks like, for a really long time. Really. And there's the same players that are kind of, connected to it. So I didn't really understand like he came on my show and he talked about his relationship with Liz. And, how there was the Liz flip, and all of a sudden she went back and befriended Owen and then became an enemy against him that he doesn't understand. And I don't really understand it either. But again, I will say this, a lot of the people that are connected in this community flip like that. They will, and I made a mistake. Like, I feel like I was overly open to Adam Camacho about my personal issues that I had gone through on the internet. And I shared a lot of the things that had happened to me personally in relation to Thomas Schoenberger, in relation to people like Sarah R. Adams, in relation to a lot of people. So, and he was exchanging his stuff that was going on. And, what had involved him with some of maybe these people or whatever. And there was this sort of like sympathizing thing going on between us. Lots of conversations, heard about his family. We talked about Mexican food. There was a lot of things that, I felt that I, enjoyed having a conversation with him, and everything. Now, it wasn't until like, right before we get ready to do our interview with one another, right? Then he tells me, because I check in, I go, hey, are we, this date, whatever. He says, oh, by the way, I made up with Hoax. And I'm like, okay, well, then let's talk about it, talk about that thing. And then apparently, because he said he apologized to him and accepted his apology and blah, 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 right? And I'm like, and, I thought it was an interesting interview. I thought it was, there were things that were, coming out. It was, had to do with like a lot of us here that are, and I don't want to call this as like a fucked up community really, but it's an echo chamber. Let's just put it that way, of people or people that are involved and, that have stake in what's happened to them in all of this, because we have had people unalive themselves in this group of people, and we have seen videos of conversations of group of people that's their end goal, right? I mean, Operation Blank, right? So we know that, in a sense, there's a discussion of people wanting to go in and ruin people's lives to the point that they will just, do it themselves. And I know I'm kind of like, that was like a digression, but that's what you expect in a morning rant from me, is that I'm just going with flow of thought on the situation. So, all this stuff happens, and then, he starts to say, well, do you want to talk to, I'm not going to say who it is, but it's somebody, he's a high-level troll, and he is a player in this. And I'm like, sure, I'd like to hear what he has to say. And so I had a conversation with him, and there was talks of him maybe coming on my show. If I, all of a sudden I'm doing shows talking about, like, I did an interview with Liz, because Liz wanted to talk about her side of a story and the lawsuit and everything like that, how she's involved in it. I thought it was a good interview. I thought it was pleasant. I thought it was a pleasant interview. But then, like, there was some judgment talk of me over on Telly's show and this and that, and I felt kind of betrayed there, but not surprised. people can be nice to your face on a show, and you can do your pleasantries and go through your dialogue, but doesn't mean that they're not going to stab you in the back a little bit with their cronies. Because to me, I think that's like the higher purpose of it. Is, it's not really like about like, oh, well, how can we work this out? How can we be fair to each other? How can we stop this? How can we be just and have integrity and not be manipulated by players who, want to talk about how Saint Germain's going to stay alive forever, right? So Adam Camacho, this starts happening, and then other things start happening, and then he starts talking to me like, well, your channel's not really that big, really, and so you should let people like Telly be in your chat and stuff like that, kind of pump your numbers. And I really felt that was really so disingenuous. Like, is that what we're doing here? We're just like rotating between each other's channels and our little predator catcher communities. And, if you want to make Not My Rabbit Hole be a little bit more, let that drama just play off of it a little bit. Just take a little tongue in cheek. Everybody wants to make fun of the wig, right? No, that's not what I'm here for on my channel. That's not, I'd rather not. That's not what I do here. That's not why I got a degree in journalism. That's not why I created anything. That's not what I want to do with my creativity, my thoughts, anything like that. I don't want to be a part of your world. I'll do commentary on it, but I'm not going to wink and be in on it. And then after that, shortly after that, he comes up to me and says he defended me with Thomas Schellenberger and blah, 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 blah. Yeah, because Thomas Schellenberger's talking about me. And, and then, oh, well, he would maybe be open to accept an apology from you. I'm like, and then he gave me a Chat GPT version of it, and I read it mockingly. And ironically, that is the video. The video that everybody's saying, oh, she's yelling at Adam Camacho and this and that, and blah, 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 like that permeated everywhere, right? Liz did it too, right? So, after all that, the video's not on YouTube anymore because Thomas Schellenberger falsely copyright struck it. I sent a counter notification. It's accepted. It's now restored. It's now up there now again. I talked about Titus. It was my first conversation of Titus Frost. And on top of that, which is really key, is in that video, I talk about the police investigations of Sarah R. Adams, because she went on Titus Frost's show and she said, I got brain damage and had a heart attack from it. And Terry's like, harassing me over. No, she did not have a brain damage or a heart attack. There was a full-on police investigation because what happened with that mushroom ritual that we're talking about that she did with the Enigma mushrooms, she had to be intubated, and so did her client. And her client was wanting to be healed because Amanda Harvey, because she had a liver issue. And read a commentary on the body cam footage. I'm talking like Stephen Cambion and I, because, and then I was privy to get the police investigation footage. And I published two, it was in parts, and in part 1 and part 2. I published part 1 and part 2 without any commentary. So anybody can just go and listen and make up, have their own opinion on it. And then I did another show after that where I did my own commentary on it, which is perfectly legal. Perfectly legal. Ever since then, I've had Sarah hitting, like, just literally stalking me, cyber stalking me on the internet. And then she hooked up with Thomas Schellenberger. And, she made up a lie. She said that I practice black magic and I sacrifice animals and all this kind of crap. She tried to pay David Schurter. David Schurter started like being a mouthpiece. Brainword. Now, you know what? Yesterday on X, I showed a conversation. It looks like it's a conversation between Brainword, Thomas Schellenberger's buddy, laughing. Like going, like just playing it off like, oh yeah, I did that. Because apparently yesterday, David Schurter does a stream and says that he had a dream. This is kind of funny. of a big fat guy and a big fat pedo wearing tidy whities in bed with him. And that big fat pedo wearing old man wearing tidy whities in bed with him. And by the way, you know how they say in dreams, you are every character in your dreams. So let's just go there for a moment. So he's like saying that in his dream, the guy, me and Sarah made up the dude. Like we were the component. Like it wasn't really a big fat old man pedo guy wearing tidy whities in bed with him. It was me and Sarah, which I find to be really weird. I'm like, what the fuck is this? What is this? You know, like, you know, I'm up in the morning, you know, trying to like enjoy my day or whatever, and I'm making eggs and like, you know, like I'm having some, you know, English muffins, and I'm hearing like, you know, I have David Schroeder playing on the background on my iPad, and he's like, and then the big fat pedo guy, and it's like Terry Joyce is like, I'm like, oh my god, that's so weird. I had to pause it. I was like, wait a second here, let me turn that off for a minute. Oh my god. I mean, you can't make it up. You can't make it up, right? But then what's interesting is I clicked on to David Schroeder's blog and found a screenshot that was, you know, in, I guess, popped up, you know, in, you know, and there's a conversation of Sarah talking to somebody, and it looks like it was Chief Handler. It looks like, you know, it looks like it was, you know, Mr. J Dub or what, whoever, like, you know, David thinks is Lucian Greaves. Johnny Dub. So what is Sarah doing talking to Johnny Dub? What's Sarah doing talking to Johnny Dub? If that screenshot's accurate, right? I think it is. I think it is. My hypothesis is that it's Johnny Dub. What is she doing talking to him? And it was like a 5-minute conversation, and then you see something like, "Oh, I did that. Me and Terry together. I did that. LOL," or something like that. Like she did that magically in the astral or something. Like I'm sorry, I wasn't there, guys. When I was sleeping that night, I did not dream about being like a fat pedo guy in David Schroeder's bed and Sarah was with me. To me, that would be a fucking nightmare, okay? And I did not have any nightmares that night. I mean, wow. I mean, like, do not invite me to that party. That is a bad acid trip, folks. And you know what? On that note, I think I might even give myself, you know, a round of applause on that. Yeah. All right. Yeah, it just, I mean, at the very least, you know, some of these things, I suppose, yeah, Dream was bizarre. You know, it's entertaining, or it's, you know, every once in a while I get some sort of laugh because it's just so absolutely absurd that's the kind of things that they're saying. So, bottom line is, and I will be playing music here in just a second again. Oh yeah, I already did play music. Okay. Bottom line is, what is the bottom line? Okay, yeah. I sent out cease and desist letters for the first time. Like I never did one before. And Sarah was the first one that I did. And, you know, I listed like, you know, a lot of the things that are like associated with it. And I'm going to talk about Sarah in the sense, I'm going to mention who the other 3 people are because they haven't publicly said anything about it. They've been emailed, but they've also, those people, because I really can't find Sarah's address. She's, you know, bouncing around. She's going to be hard to actually really nail down in this in terms of like filing a civil lawsuit against her, but we'll figure that out, right? But the other 3 people, you know, I sent out a certified mail letter to them, and I started with 4, you know, And then I'm going to go down the line. And I'm going to play just one more song, and then I'm going to play a clip for you guys to listen to about what went down. I mean, the point is that Sarah, like, says something like, "Oh, it doesn't really matter, what, Terry's like sent this out, and I got a cease and desist, and it means nothing, and blah 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 blah," and so I'm gonna, even because a lot of these things I'm talking about I've actually posted on my timeline here on YouTube, my community. So if you want to subscribe, join my community, or just go to my community and see what I'm saying here. But she made this post like, "I woke up to this insanity," because I emailed her cease and desist letter. Now, the smart thing to do when you get a cease and desist letter is not acknowledge that you got it. Don't even freaking click on it, man. Don't even click on it. Okay? Because that's if somebody emails it to, because the email is less legally binding, even though this is it's not a legal contract, it's not illegal, it's not a subpoena, it's not, but it's here. I'm going to talk about what it is. All right. So Sarah says, "I woke up to this insanity. How do you post about me? How do you post about me lies for years? And when I speak up about you, try to shut me up like this." Well, me speaking lies about Sarah is up for debate because, I show receipts. I've been very sound in my investigations into Sarah and my testimony about Sarah over the years. So I don't think that's a false statement right there. She's going to have to prove that she's lying against me. I think it's pretty easy, though. It's probably going to be pretty easy for me to prove that I'm not a Zionist and a pedophile and a Satanist and responsible for, so-and-so's death. That I'm working for the deep state, that I'm being paid by Gabe Hoffman. Those things are factual statements that she's made with other people who have agreed with her and promoted it, ran a smear campaign with her. Those things are provable as not being true. And she didn't just say this about me. She said it about a lot of other people that she threw into the conversation that she has problems with, that she's actually using Sarah's called my LinkedIn. She went on LinkedIn and found the president of the university that I go to college at and told him that I was murdering people as a comment for people to see. Apparently, according to Brian Sang and Sarah R. Adams, they called my college, and when they given the evidence of what their claims are, I would definitely be expelled, is what they were told, as they said on Titus Frost's show. They don't show any evidence of this. They just say it as if it's true. And then people like Titus Frost or Coley Weber nod their head and agree with them and then say they're trash about you. Like he's done for, forever, really. So, Miss Nonya and Jilly and, whatever. That Starfire girl or whatever was in your chat that we're going to play here, you commenting on, that's Sarah R. Adams. And you jumped to it. Julie, you sucked that up. You went like a shark going in for the kill for a snack bite. No fact checking, no nothing. Just an assumption that I would be guilty for it. And this is your buddy, Adam Camacho? Wow. This is what you associate with. This is what you thought was going to help you with your lawsuit with Owen Benjamin? I mean, really? Why are you hanging around in all of this, really, is my question. I mean, I think that's a valid question. I mean, I'm bringing it back to Adam Camacho, but when you open up and give information to people and you show your vulnerabilities and what's really happening. You think that person's being sympathizing with you, but they want you to actually like make an apology to them, which is rather humiliating and unfair, and then turn around and go, oh, I'm just trying to help you. Why don't you help yourself, dude? Why don't you help yourself? Because at this point, if it means that I have, it's a courtesy to send out a cease and desist letter. So here's the deal. So Sarah's like, and no, this isn't going to silence me. This isn't even from a real lawyer. Of course it's not. You don't have to have a lawyer to do a cease and desist lawyer. And I do not have to have a lawyer to sue you or to file a civil harassment suit against anybody. I can file it pro se. I don't have to have a lawyer to legally prosecute or attempt to. This isn't even from a real lawyer. She wrote it using the AI. If you don't want people calling out your lies, maybe you should shush up about them. And you don't have my address either. And if you have any address, it's old. And I won't even receive the paper delivery of this insanity. Yeah, she probably won't. But the fact that she commented on it, and she commented it to me on it, now it's legally binding. Because she has acknowledged her awareness of that, because if you accept it by email and you say something about it, then you are legally binding to have had knowledge that it was sent to you. So it's a paper trail of like the lawsuit. And the comments, she commented and commented and commented in my email, told her I wasn't going to continue a personal conversation with her. Kept going, threats, what she's going to do to me, what people think about me, blah, 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 blah. And all of that is also a record to use in my case against her for this lawsuit. Now, civil harassment lawsuits don't really pay you much, but what they do is they give you, and I'll go through some of that here in a second, what civil harassments do. It goes into, once you win a civil harassment lawsuit, there is a pay for a certain amount of damages for it. Even if it's the money that you put out there to file for it. But what it does is it sets you up for a restraining order. It sets you up for other things that could be criminally prosecuted. Because really, when you're looking at, things that happen on the internet that you think are cyber stalking and harassment and bullying and smear campaigns and things like this, right? We like the laws of that. It has to go to the court because the police can only do so much about it until something actually goes through court. To actually go in and you go, you know what? I'm going to go through the process. Because I sent out 3 letters, I did this on Thursday. I sent out 3 letters certified. You do it certified because that you want to make sure that they get it, that they have to sign for it. So that's what's happened right now between Sarah and I. I respond to this. I say Sarah R. Adams is correct. A cease and desist letter is not a legal document. It's a formal warning. Rather than an enforceable court order, it is a precursor to lawsuits and evidence of an attempt to settle out of court. The letter shows a paper trail, and Adams' post in Meta indicates that she knew her behavior was unwarranted, yet she publicly mocked me and the cease and desist notice. This shows that Adams is aware of the request and has behaved in a course of conduct that strengthens my civil harassment lawsuit against her. And, guys, Nonya and Jilly, is what I'm going to play here, pretty much incriminates you as furthering her abuse and what is the civil harassment. I would suggest, Nonya, that maybe you go edit that out of your video. Right? Just saying. And on that note, I'm going to play another song.
I wish that I could know why you decided to show, why you didn't just go, why you still call her Jane Doe. She was 13, not yet 16, not even a tween. Her friends said it would be funny if she met Epstein. He got a gig for the weekend, said she could bring a friend, said he needed someone who looked young, a blonde and a wig. And she thought it was harmless, so she went with her friend, and her friend thought it was harmless, so she went with her friend. And her friends thought it was harmless, so she went with her friend. And they said they all met a nice man, and his name was Prince Andrew. And she thought he was harmless, so she went with her friend. And her thought he was harmless, so she went with her friend. And Katie thought he was harmless, so she went with her friend. And she met a girl named Katie Johnson, and she looked just like me. And they thought it was harmless, so they went with their friend. And I thought it was harmless, so I went with my friend. And Katie thought it was harmless, so she went with her friend. And she thought it was harmless, so she went with her friend. And Katie thought it was harmless, so she went with her friend. And she thought it was harmless, so she went with her friend. And Katie thought it was harmless, so she went with her friend. And her friend's friend thought it was harmless, so she went with her friend. And she thought it was harmless, so she went with her friend. And she thought it was harmless, so she went with her friend. And Katie thought it was harmless, so she went with her friend. And her friend's friend thought it was harmless, so she went with her friend. And she thought it was harmless, so she went with her friend. And she thought it was harmless, so she went with her friend. And Katie thought it was harmless, so she went with her friend. And her friend's friend thought it was harmless, so she went with her friend. And she thought it was.
Okay, so I'm going to go over like some of the characteristics of civil harassment lawsuit. And most commonly initiated by filing for a civil harassment restraining order is a legal action taken in civil court to protect an individual from serious harassment, stalking, or threats of violence by someone with whom they do not share or intimate or family. Key characteristics: the relationship standard, if applies to non-romantic and non-immediate family dynamics and the neighbors, roommates, co-workers, acquaintances, or distant relatives like cousins or uncles, if an intimate partner or close resident. So this part goes into like more of the in physical, dynamics that can happen. It's basically being threatened and harassed and stalked. You can be by a person, a coworker, someone that you met on the street, whatever. They could be running some sort of like campaign against you, lies about you, whatever. So so the legal remedy, unlike criminal charges, which can result in immediate jail time, a civil harassment action primarily seeks a court order requiring the harasser to stop the behavior and maintain a physical distance, often up to 300 yards from the victim's home, school, or workplace. So this is kind of like, that doesn't always happen in every case, in terms of like restricting people, but it can go into a restraining order from the civil harassment lawsuit. So, now, when you get into seeking monetary damages. While a civil harassment case primarily aims for protection and behavior cessation, an individual can choose to file a separate civil lawsuit for intentional infliction of emotional distress or civil assault. In these standard civil lawsuits, a plaintiff seeks monetary compensation, settlements, or judgments to cover therapy costs, lost wages, or other financial damages caused by the harassment. To help me provide these tailored guidance, are you looking to file? Okay, so it goes in the civil side. Okay, you can use these individuals, you can sue these individuals in a civil court for monetary damages and court orders to stop the behavior. Your situation involves several distinct civil legal crimes. Defamation libel, false statements made online to third parties like your employer that cause harm to your reputation or livelihood. That has happened to me. That has happened. By Denise Matteau, let's just say one, not to mention the other people that are tagging and threatening, and apparently Sarah and Brian Sane called the university about me. Public disclosure, this has happened as well, of private facts, publishing private, non-public details about your life online, doxing without your consent. Intentional infliction of emotional distress, IED, extreme and outrageous conduct intended to cause you severe psychologically suffering. Torturous interference, intentionally disrupting your employment or business relationship using false rumors. Thomas Schoenberger emailed the dean of the mass communications department while I was a senior reporter for the Collegian. He also emailed the professor that was in charge of the Rampage, the other publication I wrote for, before I left the junior college. Civil harassment restraining order, a court order forcing them to stop the cyber stalking, online campaigns, and contact with your workplace. This is why, because we've been trying to get David Scherter to stop what he's doing, especially when I don't want to say the name, but the rumors of him paying somebody to harm people, right? I talked to, the last time I talked to them, really, I believe, one of the last times, the detective who was looking into the case with David, they said, well, they didn't have enough evidence to do anything. But they recommended that we all file a civil harassment lawsuit against him. That is the only way that they are going to be able to do anything else on their end, like a restraining order or taking legal action. It has to go through the court first for them to do anything. That is why they're saying it to us. It's not defamation, it's civil. So when David goes online and, talks about his dream of me and Sarah together, or, well, that's not really it. But when he says that I'm, goes through and litany saying that I'm a neo-Nazi pedophile and that I deserve to be dead or whatever, what he said about me goes on and on and on. He will be stopped from doing that. Once the civil harassment lawsuit goes through, then you can get a protection order. Then you can say he violated his civil harassment suit. Then you can get other things criminally put on David after that happens to stop him. And then, there's the torturous interference, intentionally disrupting your, civil harassment restraining order, CHRO, a court order forcing them to stop the cyber stalking online campaigns, which what they're doing, Coley Weber and Titus Frost and Brian Sang and Sarah R. Adams and Corey Good, that is an online campaign of falsely accusing me of being responsible for the death of David Wilcock. There is no proof. There is no evidence to shame me like that in public. Do you know that? I'm assuming maybe Nonya and Jilly, if they're maybe even here now. Do you know that happened? Do you know the background of what you're just like flagrantly? That woman, Carmen Joy, that you mentioned, like she doesn't have a YouTube channel. You lack integrity, and your lack of integrity makes everything else that you say when you accuse people not look like question. What is the motivation? What is the real truth about what these people are saying about the information that they're presenting? How are they framing this? What is the truth? What is the other dialogue of this? They don't give two sides. That's not their objective. It doesn't look that way. Civil harassment, restraining order. Okay, the criminal side. Because this includes cyber stalking, doxing. By the way, the website that Titus Frost has with Chris McGimsey Jones, they were doing this stuff to me on it. And false accusations of crimes. It is also violates criminal laws. False accusations of crimes. David Schroeder sitting there telling people that I'm harming children. I'm killing children. I'm doing even worse than that. Cyber stalking, a pattern of online behavior meant to terrify. Okay, a pattern of online behavior meant to harass, terrify, or intimidate you. Organizing an online campaign to target, investigate, and falsely report you to authorities. That's exactly what Sarah R. Adams is doing with Coley Weber and Titus Frost. And Corey Good. That's exactly what's happening. Police action. You can file a police report for cyber stalking alongside your civil lawsuit. The state can prosecute them criminally while you can sue them civilly. Immediate actions. Preserve evidence. Screenshot everything. Immediately capture URLs, full text, timestamps, and usernames. And then it goes on. Notify HR. Consult an attorney. Okay? So, think about that for a moment, and I'll be right back.
You're caught in a lie, and I know why. Tangled truths won't fly, you can't deny. Think you'll vanish, but have no fear. You're bound, you're found, you're here, my trying to pretend you're just a serpent in the end. Caught in a lie, and I know why. You think you'll disappear, but have no fear. You're here to stay, and no one believes you today. Bye-bye, fake go, trying to play the game. Just another snake, but you're all the same. You're trapped in illusions, no more disguise. Those webs of deceit unravel your eyes. Your game is over, no need to hide. Caught in the truth where you'll collide. escape fate. Just another trickster meeting your day. You think you vanish, a fleeting charade, but mirrors shatter, exposing the facade. Reality whispers, the truth prevails. Caught in a lie, the illusion fails. Caught in a lie, and I know why. You think you'll disappear, but have no fear. You're here to stay, and no one believes you today. Yeah. Sabbie! Fake out! Fake out! Deep escape code! Just another snake float!
All right, welcome back. Welcome back. This is the precursor to now. I don't know if you noticed this, but I changed my banner to the fair use banner. I'm gonna just play it because it basically it is a replay from Sewer Town of a show from Nonya, How Much to Save a Child, Part 2 of Telly apologizing to Dowd. Okay, this is the title of it, okay? And I was listening to Sewer Town last night, and just kind of like doing things too, like I cleaned my part of my bathroom, and I was just like, but it was just playing, and but at this point I'm kind of lying on my bed, and then I'm hearing all of a sudden my name comes up, and I'm like, what? And so I'm just gonna like play it. You don't need to really see it visually. I'm just gonna play it for you, and here we go.
Isn't Dad getting comfy? Show the workout again. Okay, hang on, I got you. Oh man, I gotta put it back on here. I'm super sleepy. It was a busy day. And you guys know what? I might go live tomorrow. And we'll talk about it some more because I do have other stuff to say, but I want to keep it to myself right now. But I am gonna put all the videos on Rumble. And I'm gonna make a playlist for all the ones on YouTube as well for you guys. And I'll name it Dowd's a Piece of Shit, okay? What did I do with that, Sabbie? Oh, there it is. I got two of them. See,
Child was removed, and Terry Joyce attacked the people
who did. Okay, I'm gonna read that comment in a second. I gotta finish and let Liz kick her leg up. I'm reading.
Okay, so it's starting right there, right? So that's Jilly reading. That's Sarah posting this in their chat. All right, Starfire Girl or whatever. That's Sarah.
Wow, what the fuck? Are you kidding me?
She's like so
creepy. Hold the fuck it. And I don't know. See, that's the thing is like this stuff gets said in here, and then I'm like, that makes sense and it clicks, right? But how do I know that's true? I don't even know who Starfire Girl is. The child was removed, and Terry attacked the people who did. She has a whole group of criminals that include child sex offenders. Hoax. Is Hoax here? Do you know anything about this, Johnny? Do you know anything? Ghost, where's Ghost? Good to see you. Thank you for coming. She really does look like that one Muppet in the Muppet Jazz Band. I don't even know. Does anybody know about this? I mean, I kind of believe you because I see it, right? I see it. Facts, Pat, can't drop the link, bro.
Her and Dowd have a group of bad people.
I agree.
I believe it. I'm telling y'all, Denise ain't wrong. And you know what I was thinking about? I think Sabbie.
So they're automatically believing it because they heard things about me, and Denise isn't wrong. The woman who called my job and is guilty of this civil harassment and everything that I just talked about right now, when I just went through a list through, they believe her.
Figured out why they hate you so much.
Why?
So you know how Denise said a long time ago, like it's this whole trucker network, Black Pearl, and I know I'm going to sound crazy for a minute, just lock in with me, okay? You remember how she was talking about like it, bad guy's a trucker, all these people are connected to truckers, and there's this trafficking of children, right?
Uh-huh.
And Locksmith used to be a trucker, I know that, but you interfered with them trying to get him to be with them, doing whatever the fuck they're doing here, and you fucked that up for them when you and Locke got together. You know that? They had another trucker, they thought. Kelly's a trucker.
But he wasn't a trucker then.
No, I know, but that doesn't matter. You can get back into it. You know what I mean?
No.
I think that, Sabbie, yes, you can. My family comes from it. Yes, you can get back into trucking. But I'm not saying he could specifically, but I'm saying maybe they had hopes of it. But anyway, Sabbie, shut up and let me explain.
No,
So
I
you
just think
fucked
it's
it up,
because
Sabbie. You
I
fucked
just
it up.
think it's because they wanted Locke and all his computer skills.
Or I was gonna say, or his locksmith skills, right? For the Black Pearl, you feel me?
The free chat for them to talk in so they can be narcissistic.
Oh, not even online, Sabbie. I'm not talking about online. No. Take that out of the equation. I'm talking about in real life, not in this. I'm just saying, with what we know, that's what I thought. And you pissed him off because you got in the way of Locke. Okay? So that's what I think. All right, thank you. Now it's true. We've heard it here. Do you guys believe me? I believe you.
Totally.
Sabbie ruined it because she saved Locke. Essentially, Locke owes Sabbie his life now, okay? Just know that.
190%.
Like, to me, this sounds like idiotic. I'm like, anybody from the outside that doesn't know these people that they're talking about, you know, like who knows what they're talking about? Like, this is so niche right here. And they act like they're experts. Like, oh my God, you know, so-and-so and Sabbie, and Sabbie owes us his life. You know, it's like, ugh.
Hi, Lady J. Hope you've been good. I mean, Denise is not wrong about all of it. I don't believe, honestly. Obviously, that was a joke, kind of, maybe. I don't know. Denise was onto something with it. I just don't know what. It's very weird and it's very deep, and we are going to find out, and maybe soon. Dad was so happy he had a urine bath. Wait a minute. You're kidding, John.
So Denise was onto something. We're going to find out what it is. Yeah, maybe it's true, maybe it's not true. We can find out what it is. Okay, you know what? You can find out what it is. There's a lot out there to find out what it is. Are you going to ask me, Nonya, what it is? Or you're going to take Denise's word, the person who called my job, harassed me with Thomas Schoenberger, is guilty of all the things I'm saying is for a civil harassment suit. You're backing her. You're backing her. But you're not even considering my side of the story. You automatically assumed, both she and Jilly automatically assumed, oh, she's creepy, she's guilty, she's like, whatever. Of what Sarah, who I did serve a cease and desist letter to, is saying in your chat, Nonya. I think that's pretty scummy.
What? No. What the fuck? Sabbie left on that one. Johnny, Sabbie left. She did.
Oh,
she's like, I'm not.
That's not Jilly. I'm sorry, Jilly. Forgive me. I should have put Sabbie in the title. I'll have to correct it for, like, it's Sabbie. That's Nonya and Sabbie. Okay, I don't even know who Sabbie is. Like, I've never even heard her name before. I thought that was Jilly's voice. My apologies, Jilly. But you know, in talking about Jilly though, you know, she's like, I felt that she's been kind of like challenging or argumentative towards me. So yeah, okay, so that's Sabbie. All right, so we'll continue. Let's play it some more. Hold on just a second. Give me just a moment here. It's okay, I'm right here. I kind of leaned over, like, anyway, here we go. Come here. Come on, baby. He saw me move into, like, he was on the balcony and then I leaned in. Okay. He's just saying hi. Okay, here we go.
I'm not here for it.
I got
believe me.
You.
Okay, I do too. I'm tired, actually. Can you tell that I just got really tired? I've been up all day. Sabbie's got a private life to attend without me. Shut up, Bill.
No, because I sent you the link.
Oh, okay, thank you. I appreciate you. Shut up, Tiny. You ain't shit. That's why me and Tommy destroyed you earlier. What are those? Uh-oh. A moth got in the house. My cat's tripping. I'm at such. After David Wilcock died, he said it. Yeah. Okay. I think I did hear that. Did you hear him say?
I think I did. So she's reading the David Wilcock part, all right, because that's part of the thing. After David Wilcock, died, and she's like, yeah. I did hear that.
I thought I heard that, but I was cooking and low key. You know me, I'm doing like 20 different things at once. I did not hear that part. Ugh, moth flew on me. No, I didn't hear that part. No, I mean, I'm not a saint in general, but none of us are. But at this point, yeah, no, I've not done anything wrong, and I don't feel bad. I don't feel bad for him. Right. I feel he's pissed me off, and I want to fight for and help his ex. Actually,
yeah. Here's where she's going to broadcast her next moves, Daniel.
You guys know, like, kind of when Lizzie hit me up, I didn't hit her up. She hit me up as, a victim of cams. I've actually kind of made a friendship with her, and it was great to meet her. And Lizzie is fucking funny as hell. And it was good to meet her. And I feel like this girl, too, because the more I'm learning, like, she seems like a good person, and it really fucking sucks. It just really fucking sucks. It's being so helpless, you know what I mean? When it comes to your own child, like, I couldn't imagine it, honestly. Yeah. The trucking industry is starved for Kim. No shit. Rumsky. But, yeah, I don't know. Yeah, India's just as disgusting. She sits up there and acts like she don't see it. Like, these people act like when we're live, we've been live for 4 hours, like they can't pay attention. You know what I mean? Like, what else are you doing, bro? What are you doing? You can't listen? People go live because you normally want to listen, right? And you want to see what the deal is, right? So you pay attention and listen, but you hear what you want. Like, it's so crazy to me. I don't know. NTF is a nasty hoe. NTF got a bunch of boxes today, I heard. Fucking wild. Fucking wild.
I think it gets a little worse because Sarah's still there. It's mostly about Sarah, right? And actually, I'm gonna change the title here. I'm gonna take Jilly out of it right now. I'm gonna put Sabbie in there. Habbie, right? So Habbie. This is like how little I know of them, really. I mean, like, the only thing that I know about Nonya, I've never, ever, I never paid attention to her. I was never interested. All I knew was that that she was, Adam Camacho, that was the person. I don't know. I'm like, I got a message from somebody and they go, why can't I post on YouTube? I'll have to come back to that. Okay, let's continue. Sabbie. Okay, wait, did I do it right? Shoot, I might not have. Let me see. Sabbie. Let me just double check that that's what I put in there. John, what would I do without you? I don't know. Oh, I put shabby. Sorry. Say, wait. Nonya and Shabby and Sarah. They are two tortfeasors on the panel and one in the chat. Sabbie. Okay, Sabbie. Let me just. Shabby is funny. I know. I think. Yeah, Shabby is funny. Well, this is a comedy show. In the end, really. I mean, that's what it's categorized as. Sometimes a comedy happens accidentally. Okay, and Siren's saying, I haven't paid attention to her either, and I don't have time to listen to their pointless streams. Yeah! Shabba Dirter, welcome. I'm fortunate in that I know none of these people. So Nonya and Sabbie, if you will. Here we go.
Sounds like some Stussett and shit, though. But they'll blame Sabbie for it, I'm sure. Or Cruz, of course. Where is Cruz? So, Sabbie, get tell off to go live. I'm going to sleep. Anybody else have anything to say?
Anybody else?
Oh my God, Dr. Jeff, I swear.
How about Sarah?
Oh yeah, here, make sure you follow my
Starfire
I'm gonna
Girl.
upload everything tomorrow, all the videos that I don't want to go through. And maybe tomorrow, I don't know, maybe tomorrow I'll pop a live or something and we'll watch one of the very disturbing videos of Dowd. I really don't want to put it on here.
Oh yes, let's watch a disturbing video of Dowd. Let's do it. That's entertainment. Entertainment.
I absolutely will.
Disturbing Dowd.
Trying to impersonate PatCon, okay? PatCon's a saint. Look how gross they are. Like, PatCon don't come on panel. PatCon talks a lot of shit. You have to make PatCon love you, okay? And you just love them.
So this is like, I have to keep going back here to a minute. This is Adam Camacho's network that I don't know he's attached to in defense for his lawsuit. Like where is this going? Like, where's the narrative here on this? What is the purpose of this?
Just give him a wrench, and there's nothing he can do about it to get rid of.
Well, Terry, just so you're aware, FYI, you might have problems serving Nonya because it appears that she gets evicted and has to move quite frequently, from what I was able to find out. So you might have trouble tracking her down, but we all know people can be tracked down, that's for sure.
You know what I mean? So it kind of forces him. And PatCon's a funny motherfucker. And these people come in here and want to ruin that, right? Could you imagine if some of them knew who PatCon was? Oh my God. I bet you every day they try to find who PatCon is and they'll never do it. You know what I mean? That's why they just claim it's Mitch. And so, and look at Telly, there he goes. This right here on full display, you guys see that? I want everyone to see that. You guys see that? It's my fault I let a child get abused for 12 months. You see how sick Telly is? You really see how sick he is?
No, Telly's kind of right. If you actually thought this child was being abused so badly and on a daily basis, like Hoax War tried to convince all of you people, then why did you allow it to continue on for a year before you tried to step in and do something about it? Make that make any sense? Yeah, no, Telly's right. Why would you have let it go on for another year if it was in fact so bad and you thought this was all true and Daniel was this horrible father? Why did you let it continue for a year? Because you don't give two fucks about the children. That's a fact. It's all about the clicks and views and the grift for you motherfuckers.
Why would you even come in here and say that? You know what I mean? Why?
Okay, so that is that was just, I'm sure like mostly everybody knows who that is, but just in case people might be watching that are not part of exactly of this group, that was Jesse Davis. And, you know, he also is, you know, we're on the list of, you know, being these neo-Nazi pedophiles by David Schroeder, who's been going off on Daniel Dowd. And, you know, there's been all this stuff brewing. It's like Daniel Dowd has been getting hit really hard. I've been getting hit really hard as well by the same players. And both of us got copyright strikes. All three of us got copyright strikes. I defended mine. I got counter notification. My channel matters to me. This is a creative space for me. I want to do other things on my channel. I want you guys to leave me alone. But unfortunately, I have, you know, online smear campaigns and people signing petitions and whatever. And Sarah is nonstop, even though I sent her a cease and desist. So now I really have no choice than to like take care of this legally and criminally. I see no other, and I do believe that I have a case, big one, against a lot of different people. And because it's been so public, and because of the associations to online communities and political movements and lawsuits that are happening at Michigan State University and the university, and articles that I'm included in with the State Michigan University about the very things that I'm talking about happened to me. And when I'm talking about the doxing and the cartoons with me being beheaded and, you know, calling my job and all these kind of things. Those things are part of this. That's even in print. It is a student paper, but it's me when I was a college student finishing up my degree talking about the situation. That has gravity, guys. And there's a digital paper trail of that.
Men, real men out there, do you guys know why one would say this? Like, isn't it crazy, the deflection? Exactly, PatCon, exactly. But anyways, what I was going to say, to sit out here and clone an account as PatCon and try to talk shit like I don't know how PatCon talks.
It's funny, Babyfist, because they're again trying to bring up Pavana's nasty websites that were just so wrong, and we were doing such terrible illegal things on those websites. They're trying to bring that shit back into it again. Can you imagine that? Fucking crazy ass people.
So, like, from what I can see is like Nonya is just like another player, you know, in the hoax thing. It's the same shit. She's just, you know, she's come to the forefront. You know, she's a breakout star. She's the new Jilly.
Kelly, don't be DMing me, asking me to do you favors, okay? Why say it? Because it's true. You're the one that fucking done it. What do you mean you didn't report it? When did you report it, Telly? Actually, Telly, go live about it, bro.
Yeah, gossip girls.
Go live and tell us about Sussifin in your DMs.
Gossip girls.
That's crazy. But we expected that, right? We know what it is. Him and, like I said, Telly is as bad as FCC is nowadays, and Telly knows what that means. And it was pretty sick to watch his downfall. He ain't been right. Stop DMing me. Actually, stop DMing me, Telly and Ryan. How about that? Both of you. Don't fucking DM me asking me to do you favors, okay? Got it? Got it, boys?
I mean, this just seems so LARPy to me. It's almost like, I mean, my interpretation is it's like wrestling. Don't be doing this. Don't be in my email. Don't be doing that. Oh, Telly. Nah, 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 nah. Right? It's so, performance. Here.
Boys, don't DM me. Let me show you guys, just so nobody can say I'm bullshit. Don't DM me, Telly, asking me to do you favors when you're acting like a little bitch like you are and deflecting from a child being abused. Like, that's wild to me. So here you go. Ryan, Telly, stop DMing me, asking me for favors. Go fuck yourself. You faggot ass bitch, Telly. You are literally, you make me sick to my fucking stomach. Like, legit, you make me sick to my stomach. The fact that you want to sit here and act like you're so for kids and this and this and this, and you want to dictate what Tommy does and how Alex.
All right. Anyways, I think that's kind of enough. I mean, I think that, whatever she does with Sarah is pretty much like, the same thing. I think the Sarah, well, you know what? I think the Sarah stuff still like comes out, and I just don't like for me, like, to hear all this like kind of talk is I personally don't like it. I'm trying to see if there's a transcript. I don't like it. I don't like to hear it. I mean, I don't, I really don't care. Really.
And how I told you that you weren't going to do, you would know why I waited 12 months, because your bitch ass friend's dick. Remember when you DM me? You
okay,
bitch, sitting and
okay,
going up there and talking to get somebody like Chantel or somebody else, one of them other bitches you talk to. Needs. That's what you're doing. like sus at the end. Like a lot. They're like, Nonya's crashing out. No. I just Nonya ignored me. I didn't feel you. And Ryan, whatever you send me for doing absolutely fucking nothing.
Let's see.
I'll gladly, provide the platform for the proof to be shown. I don't know you.
Oh my God. Okay, let me see. I'm just gonna double check. Like, I'm gonna just scroll through here and see if I see any more star for Fire Girl. Because my thing is that I'm just more interested in, maybe that was it with Sarah. That was kind of just it. They go on about Telly, blah, 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 blah. And Sabbie's in the shush, It's like, it would say Sabbie's in the chat. There is no Sabbie. I mean, let me just tell you something, ladies. Sabbie, Nonya. It's, what are you doing? Like, when I decided to do a podcast, or when I decided to do a radio show, it's because I wanted to tell the truth about something. I wanted to I had a lot of friends, I know a lot of people, musicians, comics, actors, I wanted to bring people in and have a discussion, the grand discussion about what's going on. I was doing shows. I was in Comedy Nation with Bill Bronner, and there was John Fugelsang, and we were having these, political dynamic, conversations about what was happening in it, and the discussions and everything. I was in Revolution Radio because I wanted to find out the truth about things, because I was interested in the paranormal, because I was interested in UFOs, because I got interested in, people using psychic warfare or psychic energy or remote viewing or things of this particular nature, or what would have fallen under Super Soldier. I watched David Wilcock. I read his books. I followed his blog. I listened to his interviews with Carrie Cassidy. I was open to a lot of things and a lot of information that I was seeing, because I was a seeker of truth. And so when I went on these shows, I wanted to interview these people and, gather this knowledge, or at least put it out there online or whatever. It came from a creative standpoint. And I feel like my motivation, even to interview Sarah Rachel Adams in the first place, was because I was looking into alternative methods of healing for people that wasn't just a part of the institution and big pharma and everything else. That's always been that's why I have my friend Craig X come on and we talk about the hemp bill, because to me, those things matter, even though, there's more people wanting to listen to this than they do to actually pay attention to that. And that is about us. That's our survival. That's our well-being on the planet. But it seems there's more focus and there's more damage happening in this world of these, this drama. Nonya, listening to her, there's no, both Nonya and Sabbie. Oh my God, that's awful. Why would people really do that? Oh, I talked to the baby mama. Oh my God, Carmen Joy and blah, blah, blah. And trying to get somebody to go to England for 12 years. She's really creepy. Yeah, I think she is too, blah, blah. Here's this woman. I'm calling her Sabbie. I don't even know who the hell she is, but she automatically has an opinion of me that is negative and is willing to take anybody. They didn't know that was Sarah R. Adams. I knew it was Sarah R. Adams. They're willing to take her bullshit in the thing where she's been abusing people online for years, saying these things about Carmen Joy. Carmen Joy lost her daughter over Sarah. I interviewed her. Sarah calls CPS, makes false CPS calls on people's children out of retaliation. And there's proof of it. So when you guys, running a smear campaign with me with Titus Frost and Thomas Schoenberger and telling lies that I threatened to SA her and have Thomas Schoenberger repeat it. Like, you think you're having these little casual, stupid girl conversations with one another. Oh my God, really? Yeah. I said, never email me. What? After all I've done for you, never email me. Blah, 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 blah. Really? But what you're really doing is that you're going into other people's lives. You're looking at footage and only looking at it in one viewpoint because that's the viewpoint you want to see it as. You're using information, but you're not looking at it. You're not looking at it in its totality. Same thing with, the law, the court document, of what happened and the charge that he got and everything, and all of the allegations or the charge that he faced and what happened to Daniel Dowd in the past. I've looked into it. There's a gray area in the interpretation of what that really is, but you guys, you're not willing to look at that. What you're willing to do is create a Substack and make only one post from it and have it be the Mituation Room, which is hoax. Right now, the same guy that has falsely accused me of trafficking my ex-moderator's children who died, and he spoke ill of him posthumously. That's what I know. And you think that what you're doing and what you're saying isn't involving children or people's lives or people's livelihoods? Because what? Because you have 40 people listening from your troll group, giving you accolades, making your ego feel like you're important? There are consequences to those actions. And you know what? I am exploring those options. And trust me, as far as what's happening to me personally, I've had enough with this. So Miss Nonya, I would think really hard and careful, or Sabbie, about talking about me and spreading any of these kinds of lies about me that have come out of Thomas Schoenberger's mouth, or Titus Frost, or Sarah Rachel Adams, or Coley Weber, or Brian Sang, or any other narrative, David Schurter, or Denise Matau, because there are legal things happening right now. And this is not what you think it is. And I will find a way to stand up to you guys and face your lies and your damaging what you're doing on the internet, because it's not okay. It's not okay. Our words matter. What we say about something, how we endorse something, how we do something, what we put out there can be destructive or it can be inspiring. And I see absolutely zero inspiration in what this is. It's destruction. And I'm not going to let you guys destroy me or what I do on Not My Rabbit Hole or in my life. And I feel that because of the things that have happened to me, the contacting of my school, the contacting of the professors, the LinkedIn smears, the campaign, the defamation, the pedophile calling that isn't true, that has no evidence, the doxing of my name, the doxing of where I go to school at or work at, the creepy cartoons of me being beheaded by Pepe the Frog. I've had enough. And yeah, I will fight back. I will fight back with no money, with no means. But what is my will of my mind? I will find out how to prosecute you. I will find out how to do it. I will make people aware that this happens on the internet because I think that they should know. Because you're harming people. You're spreading malicious lies. You're cyber stalking them. And then you turn around and go, oh, and they're a Zionist and a pedophile working for the deep state. And yeah, you need to report her because she's guilty of cyber stalking somebody else to death that I never interacted with and rarely spoke about on Not My Rabbit Hole. Yeah, I had an opinion. I shared an opinion here and there. But I didn't like do video after video after video and clips of him and AI clips or making fun of him or talking about his physicality or anything like that. So I would be really careful, Nonya, being that there is a history with me and Adam Camacho. And what I viewed going on here, I have an opinion. This is my assessment. I have a channel. I have a right to share it. I have a right to say my side of what happened to me and what I think is going on here. And it's very dishonest and distasteful to me. And it looks like it is like an operation, like a shadow box thing, right? Like a mode of operandi to do to people. And bring it full circle, like, the black PR, but this is even more underhanded. This is even more criminal. But kind of like the Blake Lively thing, only there's a cyber stalking element to it, where you actually call people on the phone, leave harassing messages, text them, publish their phone number online, make up stories and lies about people that are conspiratorial and far right-wing fringe narratives, and then be involved in a lawsuit about that. I don't know why you guys are even like that stupid to keep doing what you're doing. Because, I don't know, Martin Luther King Jr. says something like, the journey to justice, the journey of, what is it? Justice bends law. Let me find it. Let me find the Martin Luther King Jr. quote before I leave. And I'm going to play a song out. And be back. Let me see. Let's do a Saint Germain song. Let's do this one.
Saint Germain. Saint Germain in the membrane.
Maybe it's this one. This is it. Yeah. British Electronica.
Saint Germain in the membrane. Insane is the end game. Cure sacrifices a goat. 7 months early. Listen to me, try to believe, because I deceive. I deceive. That it's here for those who can see. Saint Germain in the membrane. Insane is the end game. You are to blame when I created the game. Let's do that, Saint Germain. Let's do that, Saint Germain. Let's dance, pretend we're friends, and pretentious and contentious. Let's be Saint Germain. Let's be Saint Germain.
All right, so I found the quote. Here it is. It's by Martin Luther King Jr. The arc of the moral universe is long, but it bends towards justice.
He ain't no Saint Germain, no crown, no name. He plays the game sharp as a flame. Who's to blame for the stolen fame? A shadow dance in the devil's frame. Go in the rabbit hole, losing control, spinning wild on a stripper pole. Laughing loud, all for the lulz, but baby, that's not my rabbit hole. City lights and sirens scream, truth and lies blend like a dream. Wicked smiles, a clever scheme, chasing gold in the neon gleam. Go in the rabbit hole, losing control, spinning wild on the stripper pole. Laughing loud, all for the lulz, but baby, that's not my rabbit hole. Fast, can't find the ground. Echoes of chaos all around. You chose this dance, this mad parade, but not every choice gets accolades. Go in the rabbit hole, losing control, spinning wild on the stripper pole. Laughing loud, all for the lulz, but baby, that's not my rabbit hole. Spinning wild on the stripper pole. Laughing loud, all for the lulz, but baby, that's not my rabbit hole. City lights and sirens scream, truth and lies blend like a dream. Wicked smiles, a clever scheme, chasing gold in the neon gleam. Going down the rabbit hole, losing control, spinning wild on the stripper pole. Laughing loud, all for the lows, but baby, that's not my rabbit hole.